Open. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on this lovely Monday, July 14th. I'm your host, Matty Ice, on another edition of Drive Time, back in our regular Monday 5 p.m. time slots for a good long while, I think, anyway. And of course, I'm joined with the one and only Scooter. Scooter, how are we doing on this fine Monday?
Whoop, whoop. It's Monday, ready to start the week. Who isn't? I'm not, but we have no choice. But it's almost Tuesday and close to Wednesday. So once
That's
you get to
right.
Wednesday, Friday's right around the corner.
That's a phenomenal way of looking at it. I like
Yeah.
that for sure. All right, we got a lot to get to and not a lot of time to get to it in. So let's go ahead here and we'll start with our look in the rearview mirror. We'll start off with a little bit of NFL nuggets here. We'll start with the Commanders, and this was mentioned with the guys a little bit later last week, but it's the first time that we've had a chance to talk about it. I know Scooter being a Commanders fan, they brought in their jerseys that they're going to do for 3 times this year. I'll admit, I think they look kind of sharp. I think it's a good little bit of old with the new. I kind of like it. I think I'm sure they'll sell. Scott, what do you think on them?
I think it's fantastic. I mean, they sell anyways. They're already out there. They've been making these anyway, so they're popular and they look amazing. And they should just, instead of 3 games, they should just scrap it and do all games.
Yeah,
And then they can do a throwback Commander jersey that looks
I
bad.
I cannot disagree. I mean, I cannot agree with that more. I think it might be one of those. Okay, we'll start it off as the extra jersey, and then maybe you just make it the regular jersey once you see how well it does. Because I think it's just gonna. I think they're gonna fly off the shelves if they're, like you said, if they're not already. And then once you see them in the game and other people get to start seeing them more, it's gonna be amazing for sure. So,
Yeah,
um,
see, it's the whole thing though. It's from the socks to the
right.
pants. It's all like 1985, baby, 40 years ago. It's awesome looking, and the helmet really looks cool. Now, I wish they would shrink the W a little bit, put a circle around it with little feathers. I think that would be awesome, but they're on the right track.
Agree. I I'm really happy for him. I think it's the right move. We'll see how it goes and if they are able to keep him. So hopefully they're able to keep him. And it'll go well for them. I think maybe it'll be a good way too of the never, look, I deal with this in Cleveland. It's the never say Guardians, never say Commanders group. So maybe this is just a little bit of enough to appease the only Redskins folks too, because look, I have that in the fan base. I know what
Oh
it's like
yeah.
to deal with it, So, and I like I tell people all the time, the Guardians are not going back to the Indians. It's just not happening. I don't see it happening with Washington, but
Hey,
never say
they're
never, I
the
guess.
Washington Redskins football team Commanders, formerly known as the Boston Braves team. So
That's
there we
right.
go.
Exactly.
Imagine putting that on the jersey.
Right. Darren Waller unretires and is traded immediately from the New York Giants to Miami, former Vegas. Well, yeah, he did play 1 year in Vegas. Had a couple really good years in Vegas. The last year he got hurt, and then seemed like he really didn't want to be there, and then got traded, and then immediately got hurt and retired. So I don't know what Miami's getting with Darren Waller. If they get that 2 year that was invested in player, he could be a beast, but I'm not sure that player exists anymore.
I mean, they're giving up like a fifth or sixth round pick, so it's like that's a decent flyer, right
Right.
there. Just to double check. Here's the thing too: is that the offensive coordinator for the Dolphins, Frank Smith, he was the tight ends coach with Vegas for the
Yep.
3 years that Waller was really those are his best years. So that obviously had something to do with this thing. They also needed a tight end because they sent their other tight end, Johnny, up to Pittsburgh. So they have like 4 or 5 tight ends right now. I don't know if this will even matter, but if he's even on the team. But I think it's like a $5 million deal for 1 year.
It's like what we always call the low risk, high reward type trade
Oh,
for
yep,
Miami. You lose nothing and maybe you gain an all-star tight end.
right. For 1 season, go for it.
Yep. Now this one we'll have to we'll judge this one carefully because for right now it's just he's not been proven guilty or anything like that. But the Browns, Quinshawn Judkins, who was their second round pick, this is the second year in a row the Browns have had a player get arrested for domestic violence. And look, I don't want to take any sides on that. We'll let the judicial system play out. Um, Sadly for him, he was holding out because he wanted his contract to be guaranteed. So he has not signed his NFL contract yet.
Nope.
And depending on how this goes, that's going to probably prove to be a very, very costly mistake for the young man. We'll just say it that way.
Yeah, very much so. I've looked at the police reports. I mean, it's bad, of course. But the crazy thing is they were at an airport at Fort Lauderdale getting off, and it had to do with text or miscommunication on text or something like that. And they were, by the way, renting a Lamborghini, and that's where the incident occurred at like 1:30 in the afternoon in a Lamborghini. And there was apparently one punch thrown to the face, and then a scuffle, that kind of thing like that. But it's not a good look. And I mean, this could get worse than what's going on right now. He could get suspended by the NFL. Hasn't played a game. That should be interesting to see how that works out with financially wise.
Right.
Like you said, he is unsigned. They picked him up in the second round because they have Jerome Ford right now as a running back. So they picked him up hoping that he can kind of translate Jerome Ford because they're kind of they've had the knee injuries and other stuff going on. But then, of course, they picked up Dylan Sampson also in the fourth round. So it's kind of quite a interesting move that they picked up Sampson as well. So we might get to see Sampson a little more than we thought.
Yeah, I think so now too, because look, we'll have to see how this all plays out for the kid. That's why I said I'm going to try not
Yeah.
to put my comments out there, until we see how it all plays out. But I definitely think there's a good chance he probably cost him some money. And that Vic, yeah, I mean, look, I live in this city. Like the Browns cannot have one off season without nonsense, and that is 100% correct. I've never seen a team that cannot get out of its own way more than the Cleveland Browns. Honestly, it's just it's sometimes laughable, to be honest with you. Not this situation, but I mean just the
No.
Browns in and
Yeah.
of themselves can be a laughable organization for sure. So we'll see how it all plays out for them.
Mhm.
Ndamukong Suh does retire, a very long historic career. Mostly good, I think. I think of him as a great player. He had a few instances that people don't necessarily like. I just think it was, his style of play. Um, where does he rank as far as one of the defensive linemen that now that he's retired?
Yeah, I mean, 13 years, three Super Bowl appearances, one Super Bowl victory with the Bucks. He's the 2010 All uh, defensive tackle with a few other guys. He did seven either first or second team All Pros. The dude will wind up in the Hall of Fame, whether it's first, second. Probably not the first ballot, but he could have first ballot. I mean, he was a really great player. He deserves a Hall of Fame.
I think you're right. I think he definitely gets in. We'll see about first ballot. First ballot sometimes is tricky, but the NFL right now, 2,500 players get in every year into the Hall of Fame. So, it's a little bit easier, it seems, to get into the NFL Hall of Fame than some of the other ones right now. But we'll see. I do think he does get in. I'm not sure if I think he's a first ballot, maybe one of those second or third ballot guys.
Well, he was a 50s, 60s, 1950s, 1960s style defensive player that we got to see,
Yep.
the past 15 years. So that's pretty fun to watch. So I loved his play. Hated to play against him, but he was
Yeah.
awesome.
I think he's one of those players that you hate if you had to play against him, but you'd love him if he was on your team.
Yeah.
And those are those types of players that you want, especially on the defensive line. I think that's where you want those type of players.
Yeah.
All right, and then the last one, Najee Harris, who just recently signed his new deal. Where's he at now? Where did he sign with? I can't even remember where he signed
He's
now.
with that LA Chargers.
The Chargers, right? Lee's from Pittsburgh. He's very lucky. It ends up being just a superficial injury, shooting off fireworks. Um, and 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 he's just, yeah, he's very lucky. It could have been a hell of a lot worse. Ends up with just a superficial eye injury. Should not affect anything going into the opening of the season, but he better be saying his hallelujahs and amens because he's a very lucky boy.
Shades of 2015, Jason Pierre-Paul and the X-rays being released, but luckily his hand didn't get blown away.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it sounds like it was like a big party going on, and the people setting the fireworks off may had the malfunction, and Najee Harris apparently wasn't doing anything like wrong. He
Right.
was in the wrong place at the wrong time, which is
Yep.
one of those incidents. You know, it just happens. Luckily, it's not going to be bad. However, if he does miss some time, you could see a little more Omarion Harris, Kamari Vidal, even Hassan Haskins coming up. So they may
Yep.
get a little more action. But
It is.
I like Vidal anyway. So
Yeah, we'll see. I'm not sure. We'll see how Harris plays there, but we got plenty of time for that when we get closer and closer to the NFL season. That's
that's
because
right.
it's good. God, we're going to be close out on our draft here soon. It's crazy to think. It's like I got to start scheduling our
Do
draft
it.
for this coming
Do it
year.
right now.
Yeah, do it right now. We usually go for that Labor Day weekend time frame. It seems
Hmm.
to work out pretty well for everyone. All right, but anyway, enough of our the Catlin Fantasy Football League. Tito, we get some baseball news in. He hit his 2000th win as a manager. He becomes only the 13th manager to do it. His career record is now 2017-19. This is his 24th year as a manager. He did win the World Series in Boston twice in '04 and '07. Came damn close in Cleveland a couple times, but just couldn't get Cleveland over the hump. And of course, now he's doing an okay start with Cincy. I think he's got a lot of pieces to pick up there in Cincy, but he's keeping them in the thick of it at least to start, so that's good for them. But any thoughts on Tito? I mean, talk about first ballot Hall of Famers. That's definitely going to be Tito once he's done finally officially managing. But I got nothing but respect for the man.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I mean, the whole thing, he's a Hall of Famer. I mean, I don't know what people think, he won those two World Series with Boston. And, I mean, he's arguably the greatest Boston Red Sox manager of all time. But he also could arguably be the Cleveland Indians slash Guardians greatest manager of all time, too.
Oh, there's no
I
could
mean,
be.
there's
He is.
arguments on that, but he have the most wins in
He has the most
organization?
wins for Cleveland. He brought him out of the dead, basically. I mean that
Yeah.
well you had the Mike Hargrove range, in the late '90s,
Right,
and then
right.
they
That was a great team.
then
Yeah.
then they, so if someone wanted to argue Hargrove, I could accept it. I think Tito got him, a little bit further with not even as much talent. A lot of times there'd be a lot
Yeah.
of times where he won a division, and you look at that roster and like, who the hell? It'd be like just out of Major League. Who the hell are these guys?
Who the
Um,
hell are these guys?
and he did that a lot. So,
Yeah.
in my view, from seeing both of them, I think Tito is a little bit above Hargrove, but you can make the argument.
Yeah.
If you want to argue Hargrove, I won't yell at you too much.
No, of course not. And Francona is three-time AL manager of the year. Awesome. And of his 23 seasons, not counting this one, he's gone to the postseason 11 times. And if you throw, I think it was 5 seasons in Philadelphia where he never went to the playoffs. You throw that out of there, like I didn't even calculate that record. His winning percentage jumps up there. And I mean, then you're at like 11 of 18 seasons in the postseason.
I think what I love most about Tito is too, because I've met, look, not like formally met, like where we've introduced ourselves, but he's been at fan events or he's just been out and about in the city. He's a very down to earth guy. He doesn't mind saying hi. He'll take pictures with
Yeah.
people. He'll sit there and talk baseball with you. Like he seems like a good guy and a good manager. You never hear him talk anything ill about any of his players live or on, he saves it for behind closed doors. Probably the closest is the whole, everyone remembers the Bauer incident, which he immediately, he gives up the home run, gets the ball and throws it out over the center field fence, and he comes out to the mound, and you can clearly read Tito's lips of "What the fuck are you doing?" And Bauer never pitched another game for the Cleveland team again after that. That's probably the closest I've ever seen him to be upset, like where you could see it with the
Yeah.
player, and it was a classic. So
Yeah. I mean, he was also the manager of the 22 game winning streak.
he was that.
Isn't that the longest winning streak ever in at
Yes,
least the American
Italy.
League?
Yeah. So
He's the manager of it. So I
and
mean, come on.
then they had bad injuries in that postseason year, but but
Then he got sick or something too, I think.
he did. Yep. That was the last couple of years. So good. Congrats to Tito. The first day of the Major League Draft happened yesterday. A couple just quick notes. The winners, shortstops were definitely the winners. They had 6 of the first 10 picks were shortstops. None uncommon because I think it's the position and the youth level where you can take a shortstop and throw them anywhere, so it's not uncommon that if you got a good shortstop, they're the ones that are going to go. Baltimore had 6 picks out of the first 69. their first three were college bats. They took Ike Irish, an outfielder from Auburn, Caden Bodine, a catcher from Coastal Carolina, and Wiaha Aloy, a shortstop from Arkansas, who played for Arkansas this last year. So, and I kind of like that. I think getting those senior laden college bats that are probably a little bit closer to being ready for Major League Baseball is the way to go. And they got three of them with their first three picks, and so
So
and the O's need a more young talent.
the O's picked up, it's two catchers too in the first round.
Hmm.
It's just kind of crazy. Don't they already have a catcher that was their first pick in the first pick of the draft? But that's be that thing. But some of those shortstops you're talking about, they're not gonna be shortstops. Like Willits, he's gonna be like the third baseman or the outfield center field maybe at some point. And Holiday, he's gonna be too big. He's gonna move over to third base also.
I think so too. I agree. We'll get into a couple of those guys here in a few seconds. The losers to me were the Angels. They had the second pick, and they took a guy. They took Tyler Brumner, a pitcher from UC Santa Barbara. Most were talking about him as a late first round pick, maybe the fifth or sixth best pitcher that was out there. And the Angels say, nope, we're taking him with number two, which pretty much screamed to me and everyone else. They just didn't want to pay the money to those guys that are slotted there. So
Well,
I it's
To Brenner's, to his defense a little bit, the dude almost throws 100 miles per hour right now.
true, but I get that, and he's got three pitches, but
Yeah, yeah,
we'll see how that all plays out. Look, if he ends up, and that's the whole thing with the base. I think the baseball draft is the hardest to predict too. You just so many rounds, so many guys that you
yeah.
just don't know who's going to go where. But it was met with a lot of criticism anyway.
Well,
Um,
he went 18 spots before he was supposed to go, so
Exactly. So either the Angels know
that's gonna
something
be
everybody
questioned.
else doesn't, or they're doing a Mark Davis Raider impersonation of just drafting to try to show that they're smart. So we'll see which way it goes. The Nats took Eli Wiltz. This one I think was a little bit surprised. Not that it was a crazy out of the realm,
No,
but most had him in that 3 to 5 range as far as on the prospects reports. A lot of people think too this is the same thing, that the Nats just didn't want to give the money that you would have had to give to either Ethan Holiday or Cade Anderson if you made him the one. I don't know if it's that or not, because I think he's still top prospects, but he's young. He's in high school. He's a switch hitter. He's the youngest number one overall pick behind a guy named Ken Griffey Jr.
that's
That
right.
that that name may sound familiar, and then Tim Foley in 1968. So we'll see if he ends up being a Ken Griffey Jr. If so, then the Nats are getting a hell of a player. But a switch hitter, does have some raw power, high baseball IQ, great defender and speed. He hit 473 and had 47 stolen bases in his last year and a 602 on base percentage. So clearly he knows how to get on base. You think he's going to move over to third?
Yeah, I think he's going to move over to the third. He was one of he was my third. It would be how I saw the Nats going. I saw them picking Cade Anderson, the left-handed pitcher from LSU. I wanted them to pick Ethan Holiday, the shortstop who will be a third baseman. And if they did happen to get Willits, I'd be okay with that. It was almost any of them, but Willits was definitely the third. So I was a little surprised, but okay with the pick.
Yeah, I think I'm okay with it too. I kind of I thought they were going to take Anderson. I think that was the best fit for them, and I think he's probably, I think he's MLB ready, pretty much. Where they usually still throw pitchers down there for a little bit, but I think he was ready to go. Ethan Holiday's interesting. He ends up going to the Rockies, which of course that's where he's got some family ties there, so that's good for him. And man, if you're the Seattle Mariners, how lucky are you? You're sitting there at 4 years. You're not sure you're going to get any of these guys, and then
Nope.
Cade Anderson falls right into your lap at 4.
And they
Like
love
that's
pitching up there.
they do, and that they need it. So I thought it was a great pickup for sure. We'll see how it goes. Ben throws in here his kind of agreement with us that Wiltz is a save money pick. Yeah, I think it's probably hard to argue that otherwise. Anthony throws in, I think Eli was a reach. They should have either got Ethan Holiday or Arquette. I like the Arquette idea, and he follows that up with Arquette. Do you guys like Arquette from Miami? And based on what you guys are hearing, to see him sticking at shortstop, or is he going to be like Chris Bryant, where he had to move to third base? Where did Arquette get drafted? 'Cause I'll be honest, I did not even look to see where he ended up getting drafted at.
Yeah,
Do
I
you
think
know
it
if
was like seventh or 10th or something.
something like that. But which do you remember what team he went to? Let
Yeah,
me
he
see
went to
here.
the Marlins.
The Marlins. Oh,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
oh, there you go. So there, well, I mean, you gotta like
yeah.
that for Miami. Oh yeah, for
So
Miami.
he was the best hitter in baseball in the
I was reading that as
NCAA.
Miami U for some reason in my brain. So
Yeah, Miami. He was Oregon State guy.
yep, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so he was the best. He was the best hitter in baseball. So it's a good pick.
yep.
His OPS is 1.115.
Will he move to third? I mean, look, I think that depends on where Miami's at.
Yeah,
I think, and look, you can see shortstops moving anywhere. Like you see shortstops go to second too. That's the nice thing with shortstops. Usually have that range where if you want to make them outfielder, you can. If you want to make them a third baseman, you can. You want to make them a second baseman, you can. Because they usually can pick that position. They can pick up most positions. It seems pretty easily when you play short. So I think Miami has enough holes right now where whatever hole he fits best in where he can get up and start playing immediately, that's what you do. And yeah, the Oregon State guys, have good run here lately. Steve Kwan, a few others that have come up that just come up and just immediately start hitting. So
yeah.
hopefully
I
that
keep
works
him
out
at
for him.
shortstop unless he starts getting bigger.
Right.
So bulking up, then you can move him over.
The big bulk size.
Yeah, it happens.
It does. All right. So the home run derby is tonight. I'm going to roll through these guys this way because yesterday they had me jump on the show with them to do the draft to see who gets what guy. So KG got number one. Of course, he takes Cal Raleigh, which he is the guy in this derby. If he doesn't win it, I'll be surprised with the competition that's in it. Who has the 38 homers. Showtime Sarah checking in real quick while she's on her break at work, saying hello, hello. So hello, my daughter. So
Hello.
sadly she's not right here next to me today, but that's okay. We'll deal with that. So, but Cal was the first pick, which that's who I would have taken if I was number one overall. He should win this thing with the guys that are in it, but you never know. But he is a switch hitter. He bats right-handed. That should fare well in Atlanta tonight. It's supposed to be nice and steamy, so I imagine the ball should be flying out of the yard tonight. But we'll see how that all goes too. Second was Midnight Rider, and he took the homer pick. He took James Wood from Washington, which look, he's got 24 homers. He's been on a tear lately. So,
Good pick.
if you're going to go off of who's hitting the most right now, were probably the top two. The gentleman Jack was third, and he took O'Neal Cruz from Pittsburgh, who's only got 16 homers, but I think Cruz is still a great player. It's just he's stuck in Pittsburgh. We'll see how he does tonight. Then I had 4 and 5, and I went with right-handed bats because they're in Atlanta. Right-handers seem to hit more home runs than the lefties in Atlanta. So I went with Junior Caminero and then Brent Rooker of the A's. I just took them just for fun. That's I'm not sure they're going to win or not, but I'll root for them now that I've got them in my pool. So we'll see how they do. And then Jack, to much of the chagrin of KG, who thought that Chaz was going to fall down to the 8th pick so he could get his guy, did not happen. But he's got him. And then Midnight Rider took Brian Bruxton, who I thought about because he is a righty, but he's a Minnesota Twin, and I just can't take a Minnesota Twin being a Guardians fan. So therefore, that's why I didn't take him. But I think he could have a sneaky shot tonight. And then the local guy, Matt Olson, who is in
That's
there
who's going to
only.
win.
You think?
Yeah.
Just
He
because
took
he's
over
local?
Acuna's spot. He's
He
going.
did.
It's going to be one of those. It's going to be one of those like Bryce Harper in Washington. It's going to be one of those crazy ones. He's going to do awesome today.
Yeah, we'll see how he does. I mean, I kind of root for Matt Olson, but I'd like to see the home. And look, I think sometimes when you're at home, it goes one of two ways because either you're going to you try so hard to do it for the hometown crowd that you fail miserably in these things, or because you got the hometown crowd behind you, it gives you a little bit of extra momentum, a little bit of extra boost, and you do really well. So we'll see how he does with that.
No pressure. He ain't supposed to do anything.
Right. I think Anthony's talking about. Let's see who he's talking about here on this one. I think he might be talking about. Is he talking about Arquette maybe? He's a really
Oh
good
yeah, he
guy,
is.
6'5",
Okay. Yeah.
225. Is that way too big for a shortstop? I don't know.
I don't know, but
There's some taller
I
ones.
wouldn't put him at center field.
No, probably not. Well, although Judge has made that work okay.
Well, Judge is he's not human.
Boss man, any team stand out drafting for need versus best player available? I don't. It's I. This yesterday was just day one. I usually try to wait until all the rounds are complete and to see because you got to wait because look, some teams didn't even have first round picks yesterday. So until you see everyone's draft board, I thought Cleveland had a nice draft. They had 3 outfielders, and if you've seen Cleveland's outfield, that's the position of need. So I think they definitely and they went with guys that are actually hitting home runs. So that's kind of different for Cleveland. Usually Cleveland goes pitching, pitching, and then more pitching. But they actually drafted outfielders. They did still draft one pitcher, so I can accept that. And they drafted a catcher because I'm glad to see that too. But I think the O's were one that I think did really well. I think they hit it out of the park. Cleveland, I was pretty happy with. I've heard a lot of good things about Miami's draft too so far. But again, that's just day one. So until we get all the rounds complete, then that's when I kind of like to try to look at it and say, okay, who do I think did well or didn't do well? So you got Matt Olson winning. I think it'll be Cal. I kind of want Cal to win, but I think the bigger story is for the home run derby is, are we reaching the point with the home run derby where it's kind of getting to be like the dunk contest? You're not getting the big names like, look, let's be honest, these guys are all okay, but you don't have Aaron Judge, you don't have Otani, you don't have some of the big guys. I mean, Cal Raleigh is there and he is number one, but besides for that, you're going a little bit further down the list when you get to some of these guys. Not all of them. I think James Wood would have been in there no matter what. Cruz may or may not have been in there no matter what. Same thing with Chisholm. If Judge is in it, Chisholm's out.
I mean, yeah, sure.
So
You want Juan Soto, and you want your
right.
big names.
You want Schwarber. None of those guys are in it. Schwarber's been it before. So I mean,
Yeah, he would be great in it. Yeah,
I get it, but are we maybe getting to that point where with
he was the finalist against Bryce Harper.
right? So I'd love to see the bigger guys in it. I just don't, so I don't know. We'll have to wait. Maybe we'll give it one more year. But if we get a lineup like this again next year, then I think you gotta start wondering, okay, has the home run derby turned into the slam dunk contest of the NBA All-Star game? Where
Right, right,
you're getting guys that they end up and they still end up having awesome dunks, but you're like, okay, but that's not who I want to see, So we'll
right,
see
right,
how
right.
that all goes. Fix says, I think James Wood will finish top two. He could,
Yeah,
that
he
would not
has it.
surprise me.
It wouldn't
He's
surprise
got
me.
he's on a tear. I think the home one there may be the exception. I don't think anybody gets tired of seeing a ball launch 400 feet, but the same dunks over and over. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, yeah. People
There
love it.
you see a baseball go 500 feet, you're like, holy, that always will get you.
So
So yeah,
here's the thing. I got two things about it, and they have to do historical wise. One is that really great article today, USA Today. My buddy Steve Gardner at USA Today wrote the top 10 moments, and one of them was Mark McGwire crushing a home run in the Derby that hit Camden Yards. It hit the only home run that ever hit the warehouse on
right.
in the air. So that was that's amazing. Quick read, real good if you guys want to see that. Second, this is the 40th. 40 years ago it began in 1985. And when we just mentioned him last week, and God rest his soul, but Dave
Right.
Parker, he's the first home run derby winner. That happened at the Herbert H. Humphrey Metrodome in
Oh boy,
Minnesota.
the Metrodome. Now that boy,
Yeah.
that's going way back.
So
Uh,
Dave Parker, we just lost him. This is
yes,
40 years since he was the first home run derby winner, and then he's going to the Hall of Fame. So hopefully they talk up Dave a little bit tonight, especially
I'm
for the
sh-
Pittsburgh and especially for the
you
Pittsburgh fans.
You would hope so. I think you have to. So, all right. So this is a good spot too. We're in the middle of the season. Last week we kind of went over our teams of who we thought was doing well, the good, the bad, the ugly. So we'll take a look at some guys. I'm just a few. We're not going to go over too much here. Said, oh yeah, this is a good one. I was watching the replay of Sosa going crazy in the home run derby. Yeah, Sosa was amazing. Like those years of McGwire and Sosa
Yeah,
were
it was
just
sick.
must see TV. No matter what they were on, it was still must see TV in my book. But that's a subject for a different day as far as the stuff they're on. So AL rookies, it's Jacob Wilson of the A's and pretty much everybody else. He leads all rookies with hits, runs, RBIs. He's in the top 5 and 10 of the leagues of different stats. So I think the AL rookie is definitely going to be Jacob Wilson's to lose in the second half. Carlos Navarez, the catcher from Boston, is also doing pretty well. Second in WAR, he's fourth in hits for rookies. Pitching wise, Shane Smith has the lowest ERA at 2.45. That's with 10 or more starts of all the rookies. So if you're going to go rookie picture, that's probably the guy. But I think it's Jacob Wilson's to lose at this point in time for the A's. He seems to be running away with it in the AL anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean he's second. He's 330, second in the league in batting numbers.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, that's just solid young kid for the A's. That's something for them to grow on. You look at as far as leading on the Cy Young, of course, it's Skubal for me. I think he's got it. There's a couple guys that aren't bad off, but he's 10-2 with a 2.02 ERA. His WHIP is 0.81. He's averaging 11.5 Ks per nine. Just solid. Houston has a lot of good pitchers, so I'll take two from them to maybe give him a run. Hunter Brown, 9-4, the 2.43 and 137 Ks. Josh Hader, who's the leading as far as reliever right now at 25 saves, he's got a 2.53. But as we saw last year with Clase, the relievers tend not to win the Cy Young. So I think it's
He's still
Skubal
thinking
to
about that
lose.
ninth inning against Washington.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The ninth inning against a lot of teams last year in October for sure. But I think it's Skubal's to lose at this point in time. He's just so damn good. I mean, he had a little hiccup going into the All-Star break where Cal Raleigh took him out the yard twice. But besides for that, he's been damn near unhittable all year.
He is. He probably. I mean, he's definitely on pace right now. But don't leave out Jacob DeGrom. 9-2, 2.32 ERA, 113 Ks,
Yeah.
24 base on balls. I mean, obviously Skubal's better, but if this carries on, I mean, DeGrom's going to be right in the running,
Will
and
he
that's going
will
to
he
be
need
amazing.
will he need Texas though to do well? Like, because normally you see the Cy Young winners or finalists be teams that are in the playoffs, and right
Yeah,
now Texas on the outside looking in. So I think he
yeah,
needs Texas. I think he needs Texas to wake up to then be in that conversation.
yeah.
I'm with you as far as the numbers go. Let's see here. Offensive leaders. I mean, look, this is the same thing. It's probably Aaron Judge's to lose at this point in time. The dude's batting 355. Wilson's batting 332. Jonathan Aranda for Tampa Bay is batting 324. Riley leads the league in with homers at 38. Judges right behind at 35. Riley Green from Detroit having a real nice year, but he's third at 24 in homers. RBIs are a little bit closer. Riley's got 82. Judge has 81. Green 78. Overall hits, it's Judge at 125, Wilson at 113, and then Bobby Witt Jr. at 112. So I'm leaning towards Aaron Judge. My second pick right now would probably be Riley Green, just because of what he's doing to help keep to make Detroit's offense go. Because they're pitching, they don't need a lot of runs. They just need like 3 or 4 with that pitching staff. And Riley Green is making sure that they get those 3 or 4 runs a game.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue at all what you just said there. I mean, there's only like three guys in the American League who are batting over 300.
Yeah,
I mean, there's
well,
not a lot of the pitching must be amazing this year because there's not a lot of guys batting over 300. And yeah, to
especially
think that
in
they're
the
so low, and
NL, it's
then
even
Aaron Judge
worse.
is at 355. I mean, that's just insane.
Yep. Yeah, so if I go MVP right now, I'm gonna go Judge one. I'm gonna go Scooble two. That's gonna
Okay,
be my
yeah,
that's gonna be my one here. And see,
yeah, I get
Sideline
it.
Junkies are putting Judge will be AL MVP and World Series MVP. Blue Magic. That sounds like a KG comment if I've ever heard one. Especially when it's talking about Judge and World Series MVP. I'll hold off on that part. All right, so we got that for the AL. So the NL rookies, this one's a little bit more. I think Chad Patrick, the pitcher out of Milwaukee's got a 1.69 ERA in his last 4 starts. He's not given up more than 3 runs in any of his 13 starts. Drake Baldwin, catcher from Atlanta, leads the NL rookies in batting average and slugging percentage. Those are probably your top 2 guys in the NL, but they're a little bit more behind.
A little bit, yeah. No, but that I wouldn't argue with that.
All right. So we got the NL Cy Young. This one right now. This one it's all I think this is one where you can make an argument for about 4 or 5 different guys. I went with Zach Wheeler for Philadelphia, 9-3, 2.36. He's got 150 or excuse me, he's got what is it, 15K? Yeah, 154 Ks already. So that's crazy. He's already up to 154 Ks.
Hmm.
The surprise, Matt Boyd, coming off of that surgery. Cleveland didn't want to pay him $15 million a year because he's coming off the arm surgery. The Cubs gladly did it. And he's sitting there at 10-3 with a 2.34, 102 Ks. He's just had an amazing bounce back year for the Cubs. So it's kind of, if he doesn't win the Cy Young, he definitely, I think, could win comeback player of the year for sure. That's an award to watch out for sure. And then Edwin Diaz has kind of righted himself in New York in the closer role. He's got a 1.66 ERA, only has 19 saves, but the Mets have been blowing out a lot of people, so he hasn't had the opportunities as much with the Mets to get the saves. But I think he's back, and so those are my 3. I think right now it's Zach Wheeler, but again, those are just 3. I think you could make a lot of arguments there on either side.
Yeah, it's definitely going Zach. I think right now. I think you're right. One of the interesting things is that Paul Skenis. I mean, he's not going to get it because his record is
Right.
4-8. 4-8. 2.01 ERA. Guys, give him
I, w-
give him a few more runs.
I
Maybe a
wanted to put
win.
him on the Cy Young award list, but it's hard when he's 4-8. But it's
Yeah.
funny. Real quick, just my Showtime Sarah's having a little bit of fun with KG saying I'm going to ignore this judge delusion. So just a little punch back there from Sarah. So we'll let that one stand. Yeah, it's and look, I mean, I got this guy who's a huge Pirates fan, and he still thinks that they're in this. I'm like, dude, like you're out of it. You're 20 games under 500. Like you'd have to play 700 baseball to realistically have a chance. And the Pirates are not playing 700 baseball. And Skeens is gone. Like the first chance that he gets, he's gone. Let's just
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
just call a spade a spade. He's not. They're not going to be able to. That franchise has shown no interest in paying a guy. Maybe they pay Cruz to keep him, but they are not going to pay Skeens 20, $30 million a year to keep him. So the second that he can go, he's going to go. And
See,
the second that they
He's winning on and off the field, not on the field.
right. Well, true, because I assume you're talking about his girlfriend. Is that where you're going with that?
Oh well, she's amazing. And I'm not even talking about like the
Okay.
look. Like no, she was an amazing college athlete,
Yep.
and like she's a lot smarter than people think, and that's why she's really wealthy.
Yeah. They could they could be
So
the next power couple. The
that's a
athletic
power
power couple.
couple right there, and
It
they're
is.
real young. And
Yes.
I mean, of course, she's a beautiful woman, of course, but I mean, whoo, she's going to be when she retires from whatever she does, she's going to have a lot of money.
Yep. Agree. The NL, it's weird. You talk about the NL offensive side, and they've only there's Will Smith batting 323, and that's it. Freddie Freeman's batting 297. Brendan Donovan for St. Louis is batting 297. Otani leading it with 32 homers. Eugenio Suarez for Arizona has 31, and of course Kyle Schwarber has 30. Philly, see Suarez has 78 RBIs. Seiya Suzuki for the Cubs has 77 RBIs, but he's not in the All-Star game for some reason. And Pete Alonso with the Mets has 77 RBIs as well. Trey Turner leads the league with hits with the 112. Manny Machado at 107 for San Diego, and then Jackson Churio for Milwaukee is third at 106. I think it's probably Otani's right now on the NL side for MVP, but maybe it could be Will Smith as well, or Freddie Freeman, or you got a couple guys for Philly, depending where they all finish off. Pete Alonso's ended up having a nice little year again too. Who do you got? Anyone else there that I didn't mention that you got for the NL?
I mean, Shohei. I mean, Otani's going to. I mean, the dude has 90 runs in 95 games.
Yes.
I mean, he's on base and he scores and he wins games. He's batting 276, which we just said that there's barely anyone over 300,
Yep.
and never mind 32 homers and 60 RBIs. Not bad.
Agree.
I mean, I like Pete Crow Armstrong,
Yes.
25 home runs. He's going to have a 40-40 season maybe.
He'd be my
Or he's our own little big league. So little big league is, he's batting 275 also.
and he's one of those guys. He's not in the top 3 of a lot of these stats, but he's in the top 10 of a lot of them.
Yeah.
So
71 ribbies.
he could be a sneaky good pick for MVP, especially if the Cubs make the playoffs. So I
Yeah.
think that could be a sneaky good one. I like
Yeah.
that. All right, so we started this last week with our summer road trip, because it's the summer, yeah, and look, let's be honest. We got the home run derby tonight. We got baseball tomorrow. Then we got that lull until baseball kicks back up, and we get some golf going again this weekend. So this is our summer road trip. Last week we talked about roller coasters, and I highly recommend if you are out there and you like roller coasters. Again, I cannot mention this enough. Get your butt to Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio. They have the greatest, some places have a good roller coaster. Cedar Point has arguably, you could make 5 roller coasters that are most people's top 10 lists in some shape or form. And the 3 big boys just do not, they had no, well, now they have 4 big boys. Millennium Force, which is 300 feet up in the air. You got Steel Vengeance, which does everything you want to do. You got the Top Thrill 2, which goes 420 up. It takes you backwards at over 100 miles an hour. And then you went Siren's Curse, where you're tilting at a 90-degree angle for 5 to 6 seconds. I rode it this weekend in the last car. So you are at the highest point, hanging over. Incredible.
So I did with my virtual reality headset, thanks to Facebook and Meta. So someone on YouTube has these really high def. It's not 3D or 180 degrees or anything like that, 360 degrees, but it's this really great high def video of the was it Siren's Scream or
Siren's
something?
Curse. Yeah.
Siren's Curse. And yeah, it's pretty with the music and everything. And there's one at night too. So I wrote it at night on the VR headset. Not too shabby.
Oh, yeah. I
It
we
was
wrote it
fun.
kind of. It was sunset. We went on Sunday. Sarah says instead of a Hartford ticker, we need to start adding a Cedar Point ticker for you, Paul. Now, this is will be it because that's it. That's we're
Good.
wrapping up the last one. So from last week. So all right. So we'll get out the roller coaster. Today we're talking MLB stadiums. I think MLB stadiums are different because for whatever reason they just seem more memorable. Like you don't remember when you go to, I know for the Washington fans, like we always talk about RFK, and I get that because that's kind of an older, that's a different style football stadium. But a lot of these football stadiums, I think especially now, they all kind of look the same. There's not that much difference. But baseball stadiums, they're everyone is unique, between the dimensions. The dimensions aren't the same. The way they're designed isn't the same. So, and I think for some reason, just people remember what stadiums they've been to more than anything else. That's at least why I think they're so special. And I think it was kind of fun to talk about, who's been to what stadiums. That's why I think that my goal with my wife is to get to every stadium. We've been to a third of them. Um, you know, some cities are unfortunately back on the list because the stadiums I've been to are no longer in existence. So now I got to go to the new one. But if you count the old stadiums, I'd be at even like half of them. But we've got a third of them again right now. How about you, Scooter?
Yeah, I mean, I've totally been to like maybe 8 to 10 totally in my
Yeah.
lifetime.
So
And
so we're around the same. About I think we were at 12.
yeah, yeah.
All right. So with that,
But it is amazing. Yeah, you're 100% right, and there is something about it's like straight out of Ken Burns' baseball. There is something like I'll never forget being a little kid wandering around, like getting to Yankee Stadium, and hearing all the sounds and the smells of popcorn and all that stuff. And you start getting closer to one of the areas to walk outside, and all you see is light and green.
right.
Then you keep walking farther, and there's a player out there. And then you get, and now you're in there, and then all of a sudden you see the entire field. There's something about that.
I agree, and so that it's my love. I love going to baseball stadiums. So with that, we're going to give our top five. Now, this is the top. Now, just to clarify, and so if anyone wants to throw in the comments of what your top five is, you're welcome to. These are stadiums that Scooter and I have actually been to. So if we haven't been there, we can't put it on the list. But if you've been there and it's on your list, throw it in the comments. We'll read them off as we go along. So my number five may surprise people because I've been to it and it's only number five, and that's Wrigley Field. And it's nothing against Wrigley Field. I think part of it's because I was there as a kid. I still have memories of being there, but I haven't been there. I was 12 years old when I went, so I have a funny feeling. If I went back, maybe I would view it differently. But I just remember as a kid, and being there as a kid, it was still amazing to say, "Oh my God, I've been to a game in Wrigley Field." But we had seats that were obstructed view because there's still obstructed view seats in that stadium. But man, seeing the Ivy, and when I was there, they didn't have quite as many people that would watch it from the rooftops overhead. So I love Wrigley, but for me, it's just number five because the four that are above it, I just think are better for watching a baseball game right now.
Yeah, I get
Scott,
that. Yeah,
what's your
number
five?
five for me, that would be Camden Yards. I mean, it's a beautiful old throwback. They did a great job with it when they designed it back in like they opened in 91, 92, something like that. And
Yeah,
then I mean that whole warehouse area back there, you got the Boogs barbecue and all that. It's just a nice, clean stadium, I think. I mean, and just the design, the look of it is really nice. I like it because I feel like it's the 1920s, 1930s.
you might hear that stadium later in my list. And Vic puts down the only one that he's been to is Turner Field, unfortunately, which does not exist any longer
Unfortunately,
either. So
it
uh,
was built for the Olympics, anyways.
yeah, I'm not sure where that would have. If I ever got to that one, I'm not sure where that one would have rated. So, number four for me is Busch Stadium in St. Louis. You just, especially if you're sitting behind home plate, you've got a view of the downtown outline, and then of course the Gateway. So as it gets to nighttime and the Gateway starts to get that nighttime glow to it, you just can't go wrong. It's a great atmosphere there. It's a big stadium. Like the game that we went to, it looked like there was nobody there, but they had 30,000 people because the place seats 60. It's just it's amazing. But even though it's big, it doesn't feel big. It's like a weird thing. Like you look around, it's like, oh my God, this place is huge, but you still feel like you're kind of on top of the play, and you still can see the play. And then just the view of my wife and I, when we go to the games, where we always go for is we go for upper deck because they're a little bit cheaper, behind home plate because you can usually see both lines, and we feel like that's the best view of everything. And usually you have a good view of whatever the city's going to be offering you. So with Busch Stadium, it's right there. So that's my number four.
Now, we have Bush beer because of Bush Stadium.
Correct.
Because historically, the Major League Baseball didn't want the Bush family to use Budweiser Stadium because the Budweiser beer could all the kids. So they said, okay, we'll call it Bush after our family name. And then 2 years later, they made Bush beer, and Major League Baseball was screwed. And ever since, we
And
have Bush Stadium.
yep, and Busch beer.
And
What,
Bush Bear, yeah,
what,
awesome. But for me, Nationals Park, it was a nice home field for the Nats, and it's exciting. There's a lot of stuff going on. I find it more exciting than Camden Yards. There seems to be more things to do inside the stadium, and there's always something going on. So it's a beautiful little ballpark too, I think.
I do like Nats Stadium. I think it did not make my top five. I think I've got it at seven right now. Um, it's funny, like I liked it when it first opened a little bit more because look, I get why they built up around it, and it makes 100% sense of why they built up around it. But
When it was first built, that was
but
crappy
when
around it.
it
Oh
was,
God.
and I get all that, but that view of the Capitol building
Mm.
from certain areas was really really cool.
And then they
So
built that parking that
I know.
oh my God, they built you had a view of the Capitol building like you're saying, and then they built a parking lot. It's like you
Yeah.
build a parking garage now you can't see the state. You got to go to like go to the 700s up there on a specific 7 seats to see the Capitol Dome. It's awful.
Sarah says, "Should I be happy Bush beer is made from Bush Stadium?" Still haven't tried it because she did not like her $2 Miller Lights. By the way, she did not approve of those. There actually is a Miller Light. There is a Light Stadium, isn't that Milwaukee Stadium?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So
Miller.
so
Yeah.
sorry to disappoint you there, Sarah. There is a Miller Light Stadium. So
And there was a course field.
yep, yep. So there's still it's still Coors Field.
I don't think it is anymore. I don't know. I don't think
Did they?
so.
We'll have to check that. All right, so there
Well,
we go.
they
So
should
there's number.
rename it because they do a lot. They need to do a lot of drinking there.
That's true, especially this year. All right, so my number three pick is my homer pick. It's going to be Progressive Field in Cleveland, and this goes along the lines again. There's no better spot that I'd rather be on a Friday night because they're Friday nights in summer. They always do fireworks, and it's amazing. Like we always get people from other, that are stadium chasers and stuff like that, and they're there for a Friday night game. I'm like, just make sure you stay for the fireworks. Like, why? It's like because their fireworks display they do here are better than some Fourth of July's, and they do them every Friday and Saturday night. And then they stay for them. Like, oh my God, you're right. The fireworks coming out over the top of the city view. You get some really cool sunsets occasionally from off of Lake Erie. It's just a great place to see a baseball game. It's open. You got a lot of great areas. It's just a really, and for only seating 30,000, when that place is full in October, it gets rocking. Like I've shown a couple of videos of like last year when Jackenzie Noel hits the home run to take the lead in that one game. They've got video cameras from 10 streets away, and it sounds like you are in the stadium. It's that loud down there. So that's my homer pick at three. I 100% admit it's a homer pick, but I do also think it's a damn good stadium to see a game.
I mean, I don't blame you at all. I've seen plenty of those games on TV and the pictures and the video. It looks and your pictures on Facebook, they're really awesome. And the fact that they do that every Friday night, that they have home games for every Friday night, they blow off fireworks. I mean, more teams should do that.
Yep. All right. So who's your three?
Well, my three is Fenway Park. Um, Back when I used to go to it, yeah, it was dirty, smelled of urine. There'd be big rats running around. I mean, but it looked like it was from the 20s, which was, and I'm actually, there's it on TV right now. But when you go in there and you're at this field, you're like, wow, man, this the history in here, and it looks old, but they've redone it even better since, of course, and it's probably amazing now. But you see that green monster, it's just like that's intimidating, and you feel like that's old school, babe, like Crosby. That's like those fields
Yeah.
back in the day where they'd have a road behind it, so they had to make the stadium wall the wall higher
Yep.
because they couldn't go back. I mean, it's very cool.
I've only done the tour, so that's why it's not on my list because I feel like I
Yeah.
haven't seen a game there to put it on the list.
Yankee Red Sox games. Oh yeah,
It
go
would
go to the
be
right field bleachers.
it would be on my list for sure if I've been to a game, but just going through the tour of the history
Yeah.
of Fenway Park, and they do a great job with the tour. If you're ever in Boston and you got time, I strongly recommend the Fenway Park tour. It's amazing if you're a baseball fan. You get to see some stuff that you don't get to normally see. So strongly recommend that. If you get to do that. Sarah puts, well, that tracks. That is Milwaukee, so I hate them. Okay, well, there you go. There you go. That's for Midnight Rider, another hate thing for Sarah to add. So, all right, so there goes number three. So number two was your number four. It's Camden Yards for me. I love Camden Yards. I think just for what you said, I being out there in that right field, you get to walk around, you get to see all the little things where somebody's hit a ball. It's just I think it's kind of similar. It was made by the same guy that made Progressive Field, so maybe that's why they're so close for me because there's a lot of similarities between Camden Yards and Progressive Field. But yeah, I love that look, especially again sitting from home field. You're looking out over the warehouse. You've got a pretty decent view of the city. You got their scoreboard is neat. I like it. I just wish the team had better luck and a chance to be full because same thing like when my heydays of getting to Camden Yards was when I was going through college and was in a program in DC, and we'd go up to Camden Yards because that's where Cleveland would go to play because they weren't doing the interleague play at the time. So we'd go up for the series to watch Cleveland play in Baltimore, and we loved it up there. So it's still number two for me. I love it.
Yeah, I don't blame it. Again, that's why it's a top five. But number two is Petco Park down in San Diego. That place is unbelievable. Talk about another kind of warehouse building that's a part of
Yeah.
it. Like you get seats up there. They have this grassy knoll out there, and beyond the grassy knoll, I know it sounds JFK-ish, is this awesome statue of Tony Gwynn. It's like he's got a million
Oh,
bats. It's in swinging motion, and it's just a fantastic place. So it's right near their Gaslight district in San Diego, so you can walk out and you got these really great bars and restaurants after the games. Um, Everywhere inside yeah, there's so much craft beer there you couldn't even believe it. Yeah, I mean there's craft beer
right.
everywhere.
When I threw out that list, on the Sidelight Junkie page,
Yeah,
Jeff talked about this one being like one of his favorite ones that wasn't named Wrigley Field or Fenway. This is
yeah,
one of the ones I've not been to Petco Park yet. It's on my list. I definitely want to get there just for that reason because
it's a great park.
everyone I've ever heard say anything about Petco Park has been, oh my God, this is an amazing ballpark. So
Night game.
that's on my list of I need to get out there for a
You
game
need
one
to
of
do a
these.
night game.
Night game?
because
Okay.
because then you get to see, it's like, ooh, it's nice, it's 72 degrees, it's not humid at all, and then it starts getting dark, and then the light inside on this big warehouse that you got in
Yeah.
left field, this is getting cold, then it's like 60, so make sure you get a little jacket or a sweatshirt. I mean, it's cool
Okay.
though, the way that, like, it's a part that changes at night too.
That's awesome. Yeah. So then that definitely makes me want to get out there even more. So, all
Yeah.
right. So my number one is PNC Park in Pittsburgh. You want to talk about having everything. And again, I feel bad for Pittsburgh because I've never been there when they've been good. It'd be interesting to see what that place sounds like when if they were playing good baseball. But the view of the city with the bridges behind it, you can't ask for a better view. Same thing. You talk about night games there. Amazing view of the city as you watch it get darker. The park itself has got a lot of good stuff. They've got a lot of good food. They've got a lot of good beers. And their seats are pretty comfortable. Like there's not a bad seat in that stadium. So PNC Park is my favorite because I am a sucker for the downtown views. If you haven't noticed, all of my lists have amazing downtown views except for Wrigley. But the top four are all great views of the downtown behind us. So I might be a sucker for that, but that's my number one is PNC Park in Pittsburgh.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's why I hear that a lot from people, and I would love to get there one day and check that out. My number one is the old Yankee Stadium. There's not a place historic like that. I mean, it was just so big and so New York. I mean, beyond right field, center field, and behind the outfields. I mean, it's a literal alley that has a subway above it. And
Right.
then I had a buddy, Bald Vinny. He's known. He would do the right field bleacher creatures. So he would sell
Okay.
shirts and stuff on the back, and then come in and every time they go Derek Jeter, and then in the first inning, Derek Jeter would look and then raise his mitt. So they do that for every player. but it's, it's the vocalness of, sometimes annoying, but the vocalness of the fans there. They're always into the game. It's just fun, the history of it. And now it's not there, but you could still go to it. It's a baseball field. It's
Is it?
unbelievable. You could go
That's
to it,
right. I
and they
think I've
call it
never seen
Elston
that.
Howard Field, Legends
Okay.
Field.
Is the home plate the still same home plate, or is
It's at
that
the
somewhere else I'm
exact
thinking of?
same spot. The
Yep.
pitching mound's that, like, you'd be like, Luke Gehrig was here, or
That's
Ron
amazing.
Guidry, Louisiana Lightning threw here.
There's a
Willie
couple
Randolph
places that have
stood
done that,
here.
like Chicago, like where they play now at Rate Field, the old Comiskey Park. They still have the home plate where that used to be at, so you could see it. Like I like it
Yeah,
when
that's
people honor the past. The Mets
yeah,
Shea Stadium is very close by City Field,
yeah.
which City Field did not make my list either. So
Shea didn't
um,
make my list.
no, I'd never been to Shea. I've been to City Field. That was kind of okay. I liked it. It was, but it just was okay. Like,
Yeah,
and the only real Major League Baseball stadium I've been at, that I would say, yeah, that place was a shithole. Is Oakland. That
yeah,
place was a
I can believe
total shithole. Like, I would never recommend anyone see a baseball game in Oakland unless you just absolutely 100%, you were trying to get it off your list. That'd be the only reason to go to see it.
it.
So. Uh, I think the one other place I really want to get to that I haven't yet is San Francisco's new one. I want to get out to
Yeah,
Oracle Park, like
on the
same thing.
water.
Yeah, it just looks amazing. So that's the other one here. Sarah puts in her favorite's going to be the future MLB Raleigh Charlotte Stadium. For those that don't know, Tom Dunn, who owns the Carolina Hurricanes, is making a huge push for Raleigh to get a team. We'll see. He's got the money. B, he's got a location. So those two things always help. But we'll see what happens. I'd love to see it. I think Major League Baseball in Raleigh would go crazy good, but I don't know if MLB is going to expand anytime soon. And now that Oakland is settled in Vegas, unless the Marlins move, but I don't think that's going to happen. Or Tampa's the next one that they got to get a stadium thing figured out.
Yeah,
So
well,
we'll see.
Tampa to Raleigh might be a. I mean, the Raleigh thing I could see.
Yeah. Well, we'll see who gets what there. So there we go. So that's our summer road trip for today. I hope you enjoyed it. So now let's real quick. We don't have a lot of hockey to get to. It's a little bit of NHL, and then it's going to lead into my grind my gears, which I've been leading off and talking about a lot of. So we'll finally get to that. But real quick, I'd call these minimal important trades, but of some of interest. Edmonton trades and gets Isaac Howard. If you're wondering who he is, he won the Hobie Baker Award this last year. His time with Tampa was up, so Tampa trades him for another prospect. He immediately signs with Edmonton. The rumor talk is that he's actually going to play with Draisaitl and McDavid. So welcome to the NHL. You get to play with arguably the two best goal scorers in the league. So that could be interesting for Edmonton. We'll see how that plays out.
Good player.
Yep, he is. Dallas makes a trade to the Penguins. This is 100% a salary dump for Dallas because you can tell a salary dump trade when you're trading a player and getting a pick, and all you're getting back is a very minor talented player back. You know that you just made a salary dump trade, and that's what they do. They get rid of Matt Dumba and his 3.75 million and a second round pick to Pittsburgh for Vladislav Kolichnok, who is at best a fifth, sixth D, probably will most likely not even make the team for Dallas. I don't get the trade. If you're going to make a salary dump trade, I think Pittsburgh could have gotten more than a second. They probably could have gotten a couple other picks. You're getting an aged D on a crowded D side already. So it's a salary dump for Dallas. I don't get it for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, well, salary done. Pittsburgh's just doing whatever.
Yep.
I don't know what they're doing, anyways.
Dallas, of course, and then we have or excuse me, the Toronto trades where I was going next. They trade Ryan Reeves out of Toronto. I think that's more just getting someone that just seems to run out of time. He had a bad year last year. Only played in some like 30 some games for them. San Jose gets a D, add some depth in Henry Trun that goes to Toronto. So again, not a great not a great trade, but it's a trade nonetheless.
Hey, at least it's a name. Ryan Reeves is a known commodity. So
That's true. Sarah says 85 days because they did announce the opening day schedule. So you've got there's three games are on October 7th. The first game, of course, will be the Florida Panthers taking on Chicago, I think was the first game. And then you have New York Rangers against Pittsburgh, and then it's Colorado and LA. So that's October 7th is the first date of the NHL season when that's going to come up. The last trade I think is an interesting one, and this one I'll actually give Pittsburgh a little little bit of credit for. They get goalie Artur Slovos from Vancouver for Chase Stillman, who's a younger prospect. Slovos had a few games when Demko got hurt in Vancouver, but he led the AHL team to their championship. And when you trade out a guy like Nadalkovich, so they got an opening. So this is their second goalie, and I think he could push um, in in Pittsburgh for some actual playing time. So I like that deal for
Oh
them.
yeah. Hmm.
It adds a goalie he's ready to play in the NHL, and we'll see. So we'll see where he goes from there.
Is Chase Stillman related to former Carolina Hurricane Corey Stillman?
I believe he is. There was one other Stillman that was directly related. I think he might be a cousin, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Okay.
Let's see if I can find it real quick.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but the name Stillman. I mean,
I
Corey
know, like
Stillman played for a long
you,
time.
you think it and you see it. Let's see here if it says here what he is. Da, 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 da. Yep, that's Corey Stillman's kid.
All right, there you go.
There you
That's a
go.
good trade.
We'll see if he can live up to his dad's potential. So that's
It
really
is
it on.
Vancouver, though.
That's true. So, oh yeah, here it is. I thought I had it in here. And there's the first NHL night. So, first night, 2025-26 season is going to be October 7th, and those are your three games. That's all. The rest of the schedule will come out on Wednesday, the 16th. They'll announce the rest of the schedule so then you can start looking at to see. We'll probably bring up some interesting matchup next week as far as Cap's first home game if they've got any significant games. The official dates of the Stadium Series and the Winter Classic will be out, which those are both going to be in Florida and Tampa next year. So we're getting some more NHL news, and then we'll really hit the doldrums until about middle of August when training camps start opening up.
Hockey at the Marlins Stadium,
That's right.
the
See
former
how that
site of the Orange Bowl.
We'll see how that all goes. It'll be interesting to see. Yeah, 'cause they're playing at Joe Robbie. Well, I still call it Joe Robbie. That dates me there, doesn't it? Hard Rock, whatever the Hard Rock now, isn't that the name of it now in Miami?
Yeah, but
Or
that's what
no,
the Dolphins playing. But they're going to play. Aren't they playing this game at Marlins Stadium?
I thought they were doing it at Hard Rock because they want it to be outside because it's the because they're
You can
Miami's
open
got
the roof.
Miami's got the Winter Classic, so I think that one I think they want there because Tampa's got the Stadium
Yeah.
Series game.
Okay. Yeah. That's
Yep.
what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yep. So Tampa's playing in where the Bucks play, which that'll be interesting to see too. Ice out that time of year. We'll see how that. I imagine those are going to have to be 8 o'clock starts because they're going to want to make sure that the sun is down and away before they try doing those games. So
If only
that's
it was at the big sombrero.
right. All right. You got anything else on the NHL side?
That's it.
Okay, so this next little section is grind my gears, and I don't do this often, but and if you remember when I first started this show, I showed a video of a 14 and 13-year-old official. They were working games in Seattle. It's a Pee Wee, lower level Pee Wee game that they're working. There's a little bit of an altercation. The kids do fine. They get the guys into the penalty box. They're at the penalty timekeeper, and you can tell they're clearly having a discussion, which is what two officials are supposed to do after you break up a thing. You're discussing what your penalties are going to be. So all of a sudden, this parent opens up a door. He comes out and he shoves both of these kids to the ice. Okay. Was it violent? No. Does he punch them? No. But you still have a parent shoving 13 and 14-year-olds out on the ice. Okay. So they arrest, well, they do arrest him officially, and his name is Uriel Cortez Gonzalez. He is sentenced to pay $1,500 in restitution, 80 hours of community service, and take an anger management class. He gets no jail time. There will be nothing on his criminal record for taking and physically abusing a 13 and 14-year-old officials. I saw this and it pissed me off to no greater end, and this gets back to what I've told people, look, I just signed up for year 23. And we joke a lot on here about when I eject players, but my favorite games are the ones where I go into the building, I ref it, nothing really big happens, the games are played, kids have fun, I walk off, nobody says anything to me, I go home. That's my ultimate goal for every game. That's the goal for most officials. And a few weeks ago, a gentleman Jack had, and I can't remember his name. I'm sorry, I should have jotted it down. Had a football official on, and he talked at the very end about, hey, we need more guys. And we talk about this in hockey all the time. We need more guys, and I wish they would have touched on this a little bit more with him of getting into the why do we need more guys. And the bottom line is because shit like this happens, and these guys don't get any, like, he should have jail time. I'm sorry. You push and shove a 13-year-old kid and a 14-year-old kid that are out there doing a job. You deserve to be in jail. I'm sorry, you just do. I don't care what got over him or not. And it needs to be on your damn record. I'm sorry, it just does. And this sends the message, like, people want to know, why do people not want to officiate? Because people don't want to deal with this shit. Like, we get paid. Yes, we are the only people out there for youth sports that get paid. I get that. I 100% understand that, and I know that when I go out onto that I'm the only one, and my partners are the only one that are getting paid to be out there. Okay, I 100% get that, and with that comes a certain degree of responsibility. And look, am I my best every game? No, I 100% admit I'm not my best every game. There are games where it's game 8 of 10 of the weekend, it's game 9 of 10 of the weekend, and my legs are just done at 53 years old. I do my best, I try, but I'm not. I know I'm not in the right position. I've also gained a few pounds, so that doesn't help. But I try. And most of the guys out there try. Like, look, are there refs out there that are egos? And like, we see it all the time on NLB where they're baiting guys into ejections. Sure, but that doesn't happen at the youth level. For the most part, guys just want to go out there, call the game to the best of their ability. We don't get 16 different reviews of camera angles. We get one shot. And that's across the board in all these sports. In all these sports, the games are getting faster. Basketball players are getting faster. Hockey players are getting faster. Football players are getting faster. Baseball players are getting faster. The game gets faster. And all we
Bigger and
got,
faster.
right, all we have is one look at it. And we have to make that call off of one look. And look, especially with hockey, like, there could be times where I've got four guys coming right at me. I'm just trying to get the hell out of the way and stay alive. So you don't always get to see everything that you can see from uh, Papa Joe's camera angle in the 10th row that saw that the guy got tripped, and you don't get to see it. Or there's this thing called game management where you're not going to call every ticky tack play that this here, you know, 427-page rule book says I could call, right? But there's this goddamn thing called game management that we have to do as well, because we don't want to be out there for 4 hours for a U12 game, right? So all these things come into play. So and look, I get along with most of the coaches pretty well. They've now known me. They know that I'm pretty easy to talk to until they ask stupid questions. Like, I don't want to deal with my first call of the game is an icing. Why I called icing? Like, we're not going to be going there this early into a game. Like, you got legitimate questions. You come off the bench. You ask them nicely. I'll answer nicely. We'll have fun. We'll make some jokes. I always make jokes with the guys at the benches because I try to build that rapport. I build jokes with the centers too, especially if they're playing old 80s and 90s music that I know that they don't know the song to. I'm like, there's no way you know the titles of the song. You get them laughing. You try to have that type of fun with them, right? So I try to do those things to do what I can with these guys. But when people ask questions about, well, why can't you, why did you, why is officiating low? That's it. And it's not even usually the coaches, it's the parents. People just don't want to deal with hearing these parents. In hockey, I'm lucky. We have the glass that goes overhead, so a lot of it's white noise. I couldn't imagine doing baseball at a youth level. I'd be throwing out parents left and right because of how close they are and the fact that you can hear every goddamn word that they say. And I see videos all the time. There's these 14, 15-year-old kids out there trying to officiate, trying to call balls and strikes, and parents are giving them shit. You want to know why you don't have anybody to do your game next week? It's going to be because they all quit. And same thing with football, youth football. I see it all the time with youth football games. Look, I'm not talking about high school. I get high school, especially now with high school football and basketball. This is turning into big money for some of these kids. So yeah, I get some of that, but I'm not talking about that level. I'm talking about Pee Wee football, and you see these guys going off on kid officials. Soccer, you see it all the time in soccer. They're going off on these kid officials in soccer, and they're just like the other kids. They're trying to learn the game. They're trying to learn how to officiate it better. Are they going to make mistakes? Yes. Is that going to keep your little Jimmy from making the goddamn NFL, NBA, whatever the hell you think that they're going to make? That answer is a big fat hell no. It doesn't. So stop fucking yelling at them. Stop yelling at them. Please, please, please stop yelling at these goddamn young officials because they're not going to be around, and then you're going to have nobody to coach your little Johnny's precious little 7 a.m. game that nobody wants to go to. Okay, so stop it. All right, I'm sorry, Scooter. I'm done. I told you it's going to grind my gears, and I was
Hey,
going to
that's
go off.
cool.
All right, you do you want to add anything fun to that?
Well, I mean, hopefully they at least uh, they at least they hopefully trespassed him from the league and the
And that's still being
any
debated.
arenas.
Yes, the local hockey association was waiting for them to come down. I believe that he will be banned from anything in that area, but it's still nationally, it just doesn't send the right message. It basically still tells parents, yeah, you can go out, you can go open the door and go out and throw a 13, 14-year-old kid down onto the ice if you want. You'll have no
Yeah.
repercussions other than paying a minimum fine and having to do some damn community service, just crazy.
Huh?
All right, I need to take a breath. So I'm going to take my breath here real quick, and then we'll get into this. So next week, we're going to continue our summertime segment. This time, we're going to go U.S. national parks. I love the national parks, so we're going to do some fun. I'm wearing one of my national park shirts today, Acadia. So we're going to go national parks next week. Scooter, you brought up some good stuff too. NASCAR is in Dover this week, right?
All right, yeah, NASCAR's in Dover. As I told Maddie that for one weekend a year, Delaware has a professional sporting event, and it's the Auto Trader Echo Park Automotive 400 at the Monster Mile in Dover. I will try to get to it. Should be $20 seats and maybe free parking. And hey, it's not far from where I am right now. Also, golf. It's actually at the Dover. It's the only track where when you win, your trophy is a big monster, rock monster holding your car. That's the trophy. It's
That's
kind of cool.
it's,
Look it up.
that's
Um,
awesome.
but also we have golf. We got we got the Open, otherwise known as the British Open. That's at Royal Patrush this year in Northern Ireland. Obviously, Rory McIlroy and Scotty Scheffler are they're the ones who are supposed to win the whole thing. And Rory, that would be big. He's a Northern Ireland man. So
I know the guys leading into next week. They'll have the correspondent on to talk to lead us into the British Open. I'm not sure if he'll be on Tuesday or Thursday show, but they usually always have him on for these big ones, and he's got a good, interesting being a golf guy himself. He's got a good, interesting perspective on that. So
the
yeah, good
British
stuff.
Open is always a good one because it's like the courses are big. There's wind. There's sometimes it's rainy and it's cold. And then every once in a while you get like I remember was it 20 years ago or something. Tom Watson was like 65 years old,
Hmm.
and he almost won. He almost became the oldest to win a major. He was in the final pairing and he
I think I remember
screwed
that.
up on the 18th. He hit it too far over.
There have been some good chokes in the British Open too, which it sucks for the guy, but as a fan, you kind of
Yeah.
sometimes like watching those falls from grace too. So we'll see how that all plays
And
out
Greg
next week
Norman
when we
had
talk about
another
it.
one at an older age, so we
Right?
might look at like maybe a Phil Mickelson.
Maybe. Yeah,
He may came out of the woodworks. So expect
he's been
some older guy to come out there and do well.
he's been quiet this year too. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see if someone like that can go on a run. So,
Yeah.
so we have that to look forward to this week, and then of course, here's our show lineup. It's pretty solid now. We've got a show almost every day except for Friday. So, the Sideline Junkies is your place to be as we keep moving forward on these sports topics, and we get through the summer here, and we get closer to the NFL. We're your place to be for sure. So we appreciate all the comments. We had some good ones today. Appreciate that along the way. Any final thoughts, Scooter?
No, it's gonna be a pretty fun sports week. I think. Tonight we got the Derby. Tomorrow we got the All Star game. Hopefully, it'll be like a classic, is what
We
they
can,
call it, anyways.
yes, we can hope. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. So, but anyway, so that's our show for today. We do appreciate you joining us again. As I always say, hug your loved ones, tell them that you love them because tomorrow's not guaranteed. If you're around though, hopefully we will see you next week here on Drive Time with Matty Ice. Until then, everyone, take care. There you go. I'll let you do your thing there. There you go. Okay. Now I'll end it.